Now, before we close up shop this morning on the Sunday Magazine, we want to share a dispatch from Montreal, one that we very much solicited about junk mail, because there's seemingly a small change on the way for what ends up in people's mailboxes there that may make a big difference for cutting down on paper and plastic waste. A new regulation means Montrealers will soon have to opt in if they want to receive junk mail, or public-sac as it's known, as the ubiquitous plastic bags full of flyers are called there. The change caps a years-long quest to junk mail by Montreal resident Charles Montpetit.
Well, it all started in 2017 when I first got a public-sac delivered on my doorstep, even though I have a sticker on my mailbox that says, "No advertising, please." I started by calling the company and saying, "Please don't do this again." And even though they said they wouldn't, they did, over and over again. So I decided to photograph instances of improper deliveries in my neighborhood. And little by little, I ended up taking 30,000 pictures. All of them were sent in to the city in order to get them to act. The city was slow on the uptake. It was a major problem. If one bothers to do the calculation, there are 182 million bags of flyers that are delivered to people's doorsteps throughout the province yearly. And that's 100,000 tons of material. It's a lot of pollution. So I decided to submit to the city a way to make it easier on citizens to avoid receiving unwanted material like that. I suggested that the city might amend its regulation so that flyers can only be delivered to people who post an acceptance sticker. People who don't want flyers would be left alone in the first place, and people who actually want them would simply have to post an acceptance sticker. It took 5 years, but last month, the City of Montreal eventually announced that it would enact the regulation that I had suggested, along with another one which I had also suggested, that is, the flyers shouldn't be delivered in plastic bags. I was the lone voice crying out there about the situation with the flyers. But right now, I don't have to keep up the fight anymore. The city officials and even the mayoress is finally taking over and convincing people that this is a good thing. There are always several things one person can do, and it never immediately gets implemented. So the very first recommendation I would make is to be patient and keep at it.
Charles Montpetit looking back on his 5-year-long crusade against junk mail in Montreal starting next year. Montreal residents should no longer receive junk mail or public-sac on their doorsteps unless they choose to opt in to receiving it. Let us see if this catches on in other Canadian communities. And we shall opt to give Charles the final word for this round of the Sunday Magazine.